So, just last week, I did a webinar with Coffee Hours Club. The topic was, is MBA worth it? A lot of good questions and a lot of good points came out on that webinar. So, I thought, why not share some of that wisdom on this channel as well? Because God knows MBA is a hot topic whenever I'm having any kind of mentorship session. Everyone has a question on MBA. Hi everyone, welcome to Insider Gyan. My name is Somi. I'm an IIT Delhi and ISB Hyderabad grad, and on this channel I share my job experiences, my college experiences, plus I get some of my friends to share their experiences as well, so that some of you can benefit from it. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing. Okay, the situation of MBA in India. आई फील लाइक आजकल सब लोग इंजीनियरिंग करने के बाद ऑलमोस्ट ऑटो पायलट मोड में ही MBA करने का सोचते हैं बिकॉज आई डोंट नो प्रॉबली गिव्स यू एन इम्प्रेशन कि MBA कर लिया तो लाइफ काफ़ी सेट हो जाती है. यू अर्न अ लॉट ऑफ मनी, यू ट्रैवल अ लॉट, यू इंटरेक्ट विद ऑल द हाई फाई पीपल इन द बिजनेस वर्ल्ड. सो ये सब चीज़ें कुछ हद तक सही है बट काफ़ी हद तक गलत है. So in this video, I am going to be sharing a few reasons or a few situations when an MBA is totally worth it, and then a few reasons why you should absolutely not do an MBA, okay? So let's start with what an MBA actually gives you. Number one thing that an MBA gives you is a branding. So think of it whenever you're talking to someone who you don't know at all, like a stranger, and that person tells you that they have done their MBA from an IIM or a Stanford business school. Immediately you form a perception about that company that, oh, you must be really good. Companies think of MBAs in a very similar way. So when hiring, rather than an MBA degree, what they're looking for is the branding, like where you have done your MBA from, and if you have done it from a really good school, then it's a huge bonus for you in getting hired by companies. Number two that an MBA gives you is a good peer group, and a good network, as we know, is everything these days. Number one benefit of a good network is that, of course, job perspective में तुम्हें काफ़ी help मिल जाती है because all the people from the top institutes do reach good leadership positions very very fast, and when they hire from the business schools, they obviously have a tendency to go back to their alma mater, right? But other than that, also you become a product of all the person that you interact with during that 1 or 2 years of college. So the more rigorous the application process, the better the people that get into a business school, and the better network that you get. 10 years after graduating from a B school, you are obviously going to be in a very influential position in one of the companies or in the business world, whatever. And so are your friends. So think of the knowledge sharing, the synergies that you can get from a few really smart minds interacting together. So point number 1 and point number 2 से तुम लोग को इतना तो idea लग गया होगा कि MBA makes a lot more sense if you are going to do it from a renowned school rather than from a tier 3 kind of a school. Number 3 thing that an MBA gives you is a jump in your career. So if you're in a technical field and if you're very sure that you want to move to the business side someday, then doing an 1 year or a 2 year MBA can fast track your process into the business side, versus even if you keep working in your current role, you will probably reach the business side eventually, but maybe like 5-7 years down the lane. And the last and the biggest thing that an MBA gives you is an opportunity to change your career. So if at any point of time you feel like you are stuck in your current career and you want to explore other options, then an MBA is a very good shot for you. Now let's talk about a few reasons why you shouldn't do an MBA. Number 1 point over here is to get business knowledge. Now don't get me wrong, of course all these top B schools make you go through a very rigorous coursework. They'll make you do case studies, projects, etc., etc. But that is not why people go to an MBA school. There are so many other avenues to get knowledge these days which are much less expensive and much more impactful. You can consider distance learning, you can consider online learning. There are so many course portals these days. Number 2 reason why not to go for an MBA is if you're looking for a salary jump. An MBA doesn't in isolation give you a salary jump. What gives you a salary jump is a good business school. So if you're going to a reputed school, then of course you are going to land up some good packages probably. What I'm trying to say is just because of that MBA tag, you are not going to get a salary jump. Number three, if you're an entrepreneur, I get this question a lot. Should you do an MBA or should you not? Now, my perspective absolutely is to not go for an MBA in this kind of a situation, because when you are doing your startup work, when you're building your own business, the kind of execution skills, the kind of on ground experience that you get is way more valuable than any kind of degree or education. So trust me on this. So better ways for you to is to consider startup programs like Antler. I don't know if you have heard about it. If not, then Google it. But there are so many startup programs, there are so many like startup groups on LinkedIn you can join. And if you have that kind of a support group who are all entrepreneurs, all going through the same kind of journey as you, that's going to be a much stronger support system for you than an MBA. In fact, doing an MBA is only going to increase your opportunity cost, because you then have to pay off your loan amount. Another question that I got was, a lot of people in India are middle class, and is it really worth for them to spend the rest of their life paying back their loan of 20 lakhs just to do an MBA? Again, over here, I mean, obviously, it's very case to case dependent. Firstly, you should definitely think if an MBA is worth it for you or not. But if you think that MBA is going to help your career, then spending 20 lakhs for a tier 1 institute is absolutely going to be a very good investment in your career. Because, firstly, from my experience, I can tell you that most of my friends are able to get a job of at least 20 lakhs per annum. चलो ठीक है, मतलब tier 1 में अगर तुम मानो तो 18 to 20 lakhs is the average salary that you get, and within maximum 3 years you should be able to pay off your loan. In fact, if you are at like 5-6 years of work ex range after MBA, you are easily going to be earning 40 to 50 lakhs per annum, and with that kind of money I would definitely think that it's a good return of your 20 lakh investment for 2 years. So yeah, rather than thinking of whether it's a good investment or not, you should think about whether an MBA is going to add value to your career or not. I want to end this video by giving you some thoughts on how you should be thinking about doing an MBA in a very timeline kind of a format. Okay, so number one is, if you are a fresher, there is absolutely no urgency for you to do an MBA unless you have found yourself in a tier 1 institute, tier 1 or even a tier 2 institute. But if not, I would strongly recommend you take up a job, explore your interests, find out if MBA is actually going to be worth it or not, and then do MBA at like 1 or 2 years of work ex. Then if you are at a 1 to 2 years of work ex, I would say that this is the time when you start thinking about if you are liking what you are doing or if you want to change your field. If you're liking what you are doing, then it is okay to continue working for another few years and then consider doing an MBA later. But if you're not liking your job at the moment, then see if an MBA fits your bill. Look at what are some of the career options that you might be able to get into after MBA. See if that interests you and accordingly pursue MBA if you have to. Don't get me wrong, I mean, whenever you feel stuck in your company, MBA is not the only way out. There are so many other options these days. But if an MBA is suitable, then that's a good point to start thinking about it. If you are at a 3 to 4 years work experience, I think this is a very crucial time, because after 3 or 4 years, the incremental value that you get of your prior work ex gets very, very low, because at the end of the day, the average years of work ex for MBA students in India is still very, very low compared to outside. If you realize at a much later stage, say 5 or 6 years ish time frame, whether you should go for an MBA or not, I think that is where you should definitely not consider the 2-year programs like IIMs, SPJAN. No, that is the time when you think of doing an executive MBA. Executive MBA is not really going to help you change your field a lot. So executive MBA is your option at that point of time. And the second option that you have is ISB. Third option that you have is international B schools, because both at ISB and international B schools, the average number of work ex is much higher, which means that the companies that come to hire, in those schools are also looking for a lot of leadership positions as well. If you guys have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below. Or if you have any personalized kind of questions, then feel free to email me. I'm going to leave the email over here. Also, we do have a personalized MBA consultation kind of a thing, mentorship program on our website, so you can check out that as well. And yeah, hope you guys liked this video. If you did, then definitely hit the like button and please subscribe yaar, तुम्हारे लिए बिल्कुल free hand. It's just a little bit of motivating factor for me, so definitely subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Till then, bye.